Welcome back to Sporcle and criteria letter cities. Now, first off, if you would look to here, there are instructions on how to play the game. I may not have noticed that for the first two videos I did. From now on, we are going to play this correctly. The instructions say you're given 8 cities and 8 criteria. The first answer has to fulfill all 8 given criteria. When you guess that right, the bottom criterion disappears and the next answer has to fulfill the remaining 7 criteria. The next has the remaining 6 criteria, etc. until you finish. So, keeping that in mind, let's do F cities and see if we're better now that we know how to play the game. Alright, our criteria is an F city, not in Oceania. Its country's capital starts with a consonant. Not a capital city. Its country has hosted a World Cup. Population above 500,000. Its country was part of the Tripartite Pact. Great, I have no idea what that is. Was invaded by the Mongols in the 13th century. Sure. And we have Fez, Morocco. Flekkefjord, Norway. Fortaleza, Brazil. Frankfurt, Germany. Fray Bentos, Uruguay. Freetown, Sierra Leone, Fukuoka, Japan, and Funafuti, Tuvalu. Alright. Okay, so not in Oceania. So for now, we can safely ignore Funafuti. Its country capital starts with a consonant. Okay, for Morocco, that's Rabat. That does. Norway, Oslo, we can ignore Flekkefjord. Brasilia does start with B, yes. Berlin, Montevideo, Freetown is the capital, Tokyo. Okay, so it's just Funafuti and Flekkefjord we can ignore for now. Not a capital city, that means we can ignore Freetown. Its country has hosted a World Cup, that means we can ignore Fray Bentos. We can ignore Frankfurt. We can ignore Fortaleza. Has Japan hosted a World Cup? I know South Korea has. But that for now leaves us with only Fez and Fukuoka. Was invaded by the Mongols in the 13th century. Alright. Wait, it says its country has hosted a World Cup, so we can rule out Morocco. That's what I should be doing. Still don't know how to play the game apparently. Population above 500,000, that means we can ignore Fray Bentos probably. Fortaleza might have it. But Fortaleza probably wasn't invaded by the Mongols. So that leaves us with Frankfurt. Anything else? I'm unsure, probably not. Fukuoka, has Japan hosted a World Cup? I'm going to say no and I'm going to click Frankfurt, which was wrong. Alright. Fukuoka then. Apparently Japan has hosted a World Cup. It also makes more sense for the Mongolians to have invaded it over Germany. Its country was part of the Tripartite Pact. Probably Frankfurt now then, yeah? Alright, population above 500,000. We're still looking for countries that have hosted a World Cup. So we've got Uruguay, Brazil. And that is not true later on. And I'd say it's more likely that Fortaleza has over 500,000 than Fray Bentos, which was correct. Its country has hosted a World Cup. There we go. Not a capital city. This leaves us with any of these. Actually, I don't know if Funafuti is the capital of Tuvalu. I've never heard of it, so I don't think it is, but... Okay. But not in Oceania. So we can rule out Funafuti. This country's capital starts with a consonant. We can rule out Oslo, like Flekkefjord. So that leaves us with Fez and Freetown, and not a capital is Fez. Country's capital starts with a consonant, and not in Oceania is Freetown. Flekkefjord, Funafuti. Alright, so that's how you actually play the game. And we're going to finish these quizzes like that. I know I did 2 letters of video before, but given how this method of doing the quiz is a lot faster than the one I did before, we're gonna see how many we can do. I think it'll be 3 or 4. Let's continue with a G. We've got, is a G city, not in Oceania. Its country's capital starts with a consonant, no NFL team. Not in Europe, is a capital city north of the equator and population above 1 million. Alright, not in Oceania. We can ignore... Gold Coast. We can ignore Gold Coast. Its country's capital starts with a consonant. The Gaborone is the capital of Botswana, so that does. Georgetown is the capital of Guyana, that does. Ghent, Brussels is the capital of Belgium, that does start with a consonant. Cuba is Havana, I think, that does start with a consonant. Washington does. Guatemala does, and Ottawa doesn't, so we can ignore Guelph, Canada. No NFL team. I have no idea. I'd assume most of them. Green Bay Packers, is that an NFL team or is that an NHL team? I don't know. We're going to ignore Green Bay for that. Not in Europe. We are going to ignore Ghent for that. Is a capital city. We can ignore Georgetown, Gaborone, and Guatemala. For north of the... Are we left with anything other than population above 1 million? So it's not Guelph. I would have heard of that. Is it Guantanamo? Guantanamo, actually that wouldn't have 1 million either, would it? Is a capital city. That's important for now. We have to go for a capital city, which makes north of the equator is not true for Gaborone, which basically only leaves us with Guatemala. North of the equator, a capital city. Leaves us only with Georgetown. Is a capital city is Gaborone, not in Europe. No NFL team. This country's capital starts with a consonant. That's not true for Guelph, so we can ignore that. We can ignore Green Bay. We can ignore Ghent. Gold Coast or Guantanamo. Not in Oceania, it's Guantanamo. What just left? I should have paid attention to what just fell out. Oh, not in Europe fell out of it. So that should be Ghent. Then its country's capital starts with a consonant. That is Green Bay. Then Guelph and Gold Coast. Yep. We actually did one within the time limits. Alright, H cities. Is an H city not in Oceania, north of the equator, population above 1 million, not a current capital city, is a coastal city, in the southern half of its country, has had an atomic bomb dropped on it. I know Hiroshima has had an atomic bomb dropped on it. I don't think any of the others have. Yeah. In the southern half of its country. Hamburg isn't. Havana, I'm pretty sure, isn't. Hobart is. Hong Kong is. Helsinki is. Is a coastal city. Helsinki is. Havana is. Hobart might be, I'm not sure. Hong Kong is a coastal city. Hamburg isn't. Not a current capital city. Oh, does Hong Kong count as its own capital city? Presumably not if it says Hong Kong, China. But I can ignore Helsinki from that. Population above 1 million. I think I can ignore Hobart with that. North of the equator. So I can ignore Harare. Not in Oceania, so I can ignore Hobart. Yeah. Wait, what does this leave us with? We've got Hamburg, we've got Hong Kong. is a coastal city. We've got only Hong Kong and Havana. In the southern half of its country, we've got, like Havana's gone, we've got Hong Kong as our second pick. Is a coastal city would then have to be Havana, right? Actually, population above 1 million, does it have? I don't know where Hyderabad is. I don't think it's a coastal city. Okay, it wasn't Havana. Let me just try that again. Is not a capital, so it's not Helsinki. Hamburg isn't a coastal city. Harare is not north of the equator. Havana is just not the right solution. So we're left with Hyderabad and Hobart. And north of the equator can't be Hobart. So, wait, what? Let me look at that again. We've got is a coastal city. So that's only Helsinki, Havana, possibly either of those, I don't know. But north of the equator. Let's think about that first. I'm pretty sure Zimbabwe is south of the equator. I'm not entirely sure on that. I can ignore Hobart for now because we're not in Oceania. Harare is this one. When this one falls, that's Harare. That's Hobart. It loses now. It's not Havana. It's not Hyderabad. Hamburg or Helsinki? Hamburg isn't a coastal city, though. I'll have to look that up later. I swear Hamburg isn't a coastal city. Oh, well, it depends on what your definition of a coastal city is, I guess. I'll check that later. Not a current capital city. That has to be Hyderabad then. I'm assuming Havana doesn't have 1 million. Yep. Then it's Helsinki. Wait, what? Okay. Apparently not. What was the next one? Hamburg. Not a current capital city. It was Hyderabad. Alright, let me check that again. North of the equator is only true for Helsinki and Havana. So, is it telling me Havana has over 1 million people? Apparently. North of the equator means only Helsinki, then Harare and Hobart. Alright. Quick cut, I'm checking out Hamburg. I mean, say what you want, but Hamburg is not a coastal city. Sure, it's on a river that does connect to the sea, but you can't call that a coast. Like, by that definition, if you extend it a bit, that river continues down here to Magdeburg. Is Magdeburg a coastal city? Obviously not. Is Bremen a coastal city? That's on a river that connects to the sea. No, it isn't. So why would you consider Hamburg a coastal city? Sure, it's got a port, but that's like at least 60, 70 kilometers to the sea. It's just not a coastal city. Anyway, I've done I before. That was the first quiz I tried. So we're going to skip that and we're going to continue on with J. For that, we have south of Brussels, not in Europe. Country has only one official capital. Country does not have Christianity as its most practiced religion. Worth 18 Scrabble points. One of the top 100 cities by population worldwide. And located on the world's most populated island. Okay, what is the world's most populated island? It might be Indonesia. It's not the US, because the US isn't an island. Neither is Spain, neither is India, neither is Saudi Arabia. Or, well, no. Saudi Arabia isn't an island. Israel, no, that's not on an island. Neither is South Africa, neither is UAE. Okay, so it has to be Jakarta. One of the top 100 cities by population worldwide. is going to be, it might be Johannesburg, worth 18 Scrabble points. I mean, Johannesburg for sure. Jerusalem might be. I don't see any of them being worth 18 points. So we're considering which of these two is in the top 100 cities by population, and I'd give that to Johannesburg, which was wrong. So it's Jerusalem. All right. No? Wait. Are you genuinely telling me that one of these is worth 18 Scrabble points? Let me think about this. Jackson has a C and a J. I think that might be our best bet. But I have like 100 in the top 100 cities by population. Like none of these have rare letters. I mean, that's not 18 points. That's not 18 points. That's obvious. Jeddah. I mean, the H might be worth a couple points. Neither of these are. Even if we assume, for example, the H is worth 3 points and these are all 1. Then we have 4, 5, 6, 7. The J isn't worth 10 points. We've got Jackson. I think the K was like massively overvalued in Scrabble. The C is 3 points, I think. I think Jackson is the one that makes sense, but is Jackson so well populated? I mean, that's just not 18 points. No, apparently not. 18 Scrabble points. What could that be? It's not Jerusalem, not Johannesburg, not Jackson. That all of those except the J are worth 1 point. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would mean J has to be 13 points. There's no letter in the English language that scores more than 10 points in Scrabble, so that's out. The J, I mean, personally, I wouldn't say a J is worth more than 4 points, absolute maximum. And A, I, U, and R are all worth 1 point, so that's 4. The P isn't worth that much. The D isn't worth that. It might be cheddar. Apparently it is. Wait, that just means that there has to be 2 cities. Oh, now it's just, yeah, sure. Johannesburg might be 18 points. No, it isn't. Jerusalem probably is. Yeah, okay. I am going to check that later. Just let me tell you that. Country does not have Christianity as its most practiced religion. That has to be India then, right? Pretty sure Christianity is the most practiced religion in the US. It obviously is in Spain. And it says country has only one official capital, so it can't be South Africa, so it has to be India. Only one official capital is true for both Spain and the US. South of Brussels. Is that Juneau? I don't know where Juneau and Jackson are. It's not in Europe. I'm gonna guess Juneau. No, it wasn't. Right, so it has to be Jackson then. What order was it? It was Jakarta, Jeddah, Jerusalem, Jaipur. Did I just click Juneau or did I click Jackson? Okay, it was Jackson. Not in Europe leaves and south of Brussels. Well, Johannesburg is south of Brussels and not in Europe. So that definitely is correct. South of Brussels is true for anything in Spain. And Juneau is the last one. All right. Let me bring my Scrabble points back. J is apparently worth 8 points. Okay. That explains quite a bit. I don't know why it's worth so many points, but if you consider that, sure, you can more easily get Jeddah and Jerusalem up there. You have 8 for J, 1 for each for E and A. Leaves us with 8 points that we still need to get. And H is 4, okay, D is 2 each. And Jerusalem has 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and the M is 3 points for whatever reason. Makes it 18. Okay, fair enough. And we're going to do one more in this episode. We're going to do K cities, which give us population over 500,000, is the capital city of a country. Guessed more than 45% of the time on K cities by picture quiz. Less than 5,000 miles away from Bangalore, India. Country has Islam as its most practiced religion. Is within 16 degrees of the equator. And home to the tallest twin buildings. Home to the tallest twin buildings is probably Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur. Yep. It's within 16 degrees of the equator. Rwanda might be. Kyoto isn't. Kinshasa might be. Kathmandu isn't. Kabul isn't. Kansas isn't. Khartoum might be. So we're left with these 3. Country has Islam as its most practiced and is less than 5,000 miles away from Bangalore. Rwanda might be further away. Kinshasa is the capital city of a country. I think Khartoum and Kinshasa might both be capitals. Kigali, I don't know that. Kabul, definitely. Kansas isn't, Kathmandu isn't, and Kyoto isn't either. Within 16 degrees of the equator and Islam. I'm going to say Khartoum. Alright? Country has Islam as its most practiced religion, but isn't within 16 degrees of the equator. Less than 5,000 miles away from Bangalore. Guessed more than 45%. That makes me think it isn't Kathmandu. Is it Kabul? Country as Islam is right. Less than 5,000 from Bangalore. I can see that. Capital city of a country. Yeah, it should be Kabul. It is. Less than 5,000 miles away from Bangalore, but now not Islam. Is the capital city of a country. Is it Kigali or Kinshasa? Because Kyoto is needed for that. And Kansas is needed for that. So that leaves us with... The question is, which of these 3 is not guessed more than 45%? That have to say it's probably Kigali. And which is close, so we're going for Kathmandu. Now we're either Kigali or Kinshasa. And I assume Kinshasa gets more guesses. Yep. Then it's Kigali, population over 500,000 is Kyoto, and Kansas City. Alright, that was relatively straightforward. I got a bit lucky with Khartoum. But other than that, pretty decent. And I'll see you next time for the next letters. Thanks for watching.